So what we have here is the air blower I just bought yesterday for $50. What our problem is it's a little unbalanced. So you can see it's shaking pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart, and you can see there's a lot of drywall dust on it. So I'm going to take it apart and clean it up, and it should be good as new. I've taken the cover off, and you can see how it's rolling. See that? Blump, blump. Now if you look here, you can see that these here, I don't know if you can get, there's a view for you. And you can see how much crud is on those ones, but then you come this way and there's less on these ones. So this is like an unbalanced tire. Now it's got a Allen key nut right here, so I'm going to undo that and see if I can pull it off the shaft. And if I can pull it off the shaft, then we're just going to scrub that thing right there. On the other side, turn it around. You can see I've got these bolts here, and if I take these off, I can get the motor off too. And I'm not convinced that it wouldn't be a bad idea to clean the motor and get all the dust off of it too. This is coming out of here quite nicely. Just get some freed up hands here, and there we go. The wheel is off, and we will go wash that right now. So you can see how much work's got to go into this to get that thing clean. Connie's scrubbing every blade. When I put the motor on, I seem to have the wrong sounds for extra speed, so I don't know how else to word it. So there's one, here's two, here's three. What I want to do is I want to take all those wires out of there. I'm going to take the bolts off the motor. I'm going to pull the motor out, and then I'm going to pull these covers off and get all the crap out of the inside of the motor. The first thing I'm going to do in here is undo these screws that are holding the wires on. So that one there and this one here, and that'll release the wires. I've already released this. So this little guy here is a compression fitting, and it had a nut on the inside, but this here is the part here that's going to let the wire go through. And so what I want to do is I want to get the wire moving in it. You see, like that. You see, I put a little groove there. So now I'm just going to pull it through. Okay, so now that's going to allow me to add some distance here and pull this out of the box like that. Okay. So now I'm going to have all sorts of wire between here and the box, and I'll be able to take the box and run it out to the end of the extension cord, and Connie can wash that outside while I work on the motor, and I don't have to undo all the stuff. So now what we have is a very dusty motor. If you look in there, you can see all the drywall dust. Okay, and that's on all the armatures, all the wire bindings. When I spin this, sounds like I got a little bit of a worn bearing, but it doesn't wiggle, so it's probably okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, and the reason why I pulled it out, that bolt goes all the way through to here. Okay, so if I undo these, I'm hoping I can pull this end off first and clean it up. Maybe I'll have to pull it all apart. So the nuts are done, and now I can pull these out, but I don't want to. I'd like to leave them right in. I want to try to get this end cap off. Okay, so that's interesting. Now you can see all the dirt on the armature. Doesn't make it run better. That bearing feels great. However, I'm going to put some oil on it. Looks to me like it's a brushless motor, which which is pretty damn fantastic. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to blow that out with compressed air. I've blown the dust out of here. You can still see some residue on the armature. So what I have here is just a light, very fine piece of sandpaper. And I'm going to, a very expensive fine piece of sandpaper too. I'll try not to wreck it so I can use it again later. This would be called the armature. So we got to do the same thing to it. We got to get that crap off. I'm going to go blow this off. Be right back. So I have blown all the dust off of here. And if you look way in there, there's a snap ring. Okay? And this bearing here is the same as the bearing in there. And I'm pretty sure these are bearings that we can just go buy from Harbor Freight or Princess Auto. Okay? The only thing is I don't think they're bad enough for me to worry about. They're not wiggling. They're making a little bit of noise. So what I've done is I've oiled it from the back, I've oiled it from the front, and I run the air on it to spin it to see if it would clear itself up. And I think it's fine. It'll be fine. I'm going to rub that again, and then I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this. Actually, I can probably do that right now because I got the oil. And then I could use the sandpaper to get the oil in there. So I'm just trying to improve the magnetic field. Okay. So this is some form of induction motor because there's no brushes. So I'm going to put these little rings back in place. And then I'm going to set the bearing back in with the armature in that direction. I've blown all of this out. It all looks pretty clean. Okay, now we're going to put them in their little rightful holes. Okay. So everything's looking good. Start the nuts and washers all off. It's got it. Okay. So I got a nice clean cage now, but before I put the cage and everything together, I'm going to run the motor. Now I want to put some. So I've made an error. My bad. I got to take it apart. I didn't oil the backside bearing, which I wanted to do. I also wanted to get some rust off of this shaft, so I'm going to do that before I take it apart again. First gear, second gear, third gear. Motor definitely sounds better than it did. Oil in that bearing. Gonna put some oil in this bottom. Gonna put a white one in. And the steel one. And the other white one. the inside. Wipe my fingers off. Then let's get this back on. If I put in 2, that should line it up good enough for the other 2 to go in. There we are. Don't go crazy stupid with the hammer. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so next we're going to put it all back together. So now this is all just going back together the opposite it came apart. So totally back together now. We'll set it on the floor. When I say floor, I mean outside on patio stone. And now it is no longer shaking all over the place and rattling. And all 3 speeds seem to work just fine. I got no bearing noise. That hum sound is gone. Fantastic. So you just seen me rebuild the air mover. And by rebuild I mean clean.